Hey everybody, this is Matt. I'm making a new Pokemon trading card game video. It's based off some new cards from the Fates Collide TCG set, which is the newest Pokemon TCG set. And when I saw this card, I took a double take. I was like, holy crap, dude, is this card for real? And that card is Aerodactyl. Has 120 hit points, 1 for 30, has free retreat, which is so nice. So few cards have free retreat nowadays. Electric weakness is not the best thing in the world, but he does have fighting resistance, which is nice. And the coolest thing on this card is the 2 energy, 2 colorless for 120, and you get to discard a special energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. That's absolutely nutso. I can't believe how powerful that attack is. The only downside, the only reason Aerodactyl is not destroying every other card in the format is because the only way to bring him into play is using the old Amber Aerodactyl card, which is this card right here. And you have to look at the bottom 7 cards of your deck, and if you find an Aerodactyl, put it on your bench. If you don't, oh, you don't get the Aerodactyl out. So the tricky part is, how do I rearrange the bottom of my deck to put that Aerodactyl there so that I can find it with the old Amber card? And I found Shuckle. He's also from the Fates Collide set. And for 1 colorless, you get to draw 2 cards, and then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. So if you draw the Aerodactyl off the 2 cards, or if you already have the Aerodactyl in your hand before you draw, you can then choose the Aerodactyl and put it on the bottom of your deck. And then on your next turn, use an old Amber Aerodactyl card, look at the bottom 7, and pull out that Aerodactyl. And it works pretty well, it does. And just to make sure the deck flows in general, I'm using Octillery, because I don't personally own any Shaman EX. I also really like Octillery. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. So he's just a really good Pokemon to help you draw cards. And I'm also running Fossil Excavation Kit, which, like, if I play some old Amber Aerodactyls and they just whiff, there's nothing there, I can choose 2 of them and put it back into my hand. 2 of the fossils and put it back into my hand. So that's very useful in just continuing to bring out the Aerodactyls throughout the game, you know. And I run these 2 energy hammer things because, you know, I mean, they're always useful. I feel like Crush and Hammer is a free card because if you flip heads, you can have a huge effect on the opponent. If you flip tails, you really didn't waste much, you know. And then, you know, the Enhanced Hammer, you gotta run it because so many decks are running double colorless energy. And some decks are running special energy, like the Special Psychic, you know, for different purposes, you know. So Enhanced Hammer, you know, in the right circumstances, can so win you games. But at the same exact time, in certain matchups where they're not using special energy, it can also be a dead card. So that's something to look out for there. I'm also running 1 town map because it's one of those cards, like, if you draw into it, it's okay. You can use it and see what your prizes are. If you don't draw into it, don't worry about it, you know? But it's great to see what your prizes are, so you can be like, oh, how many Aerodactyls do I have prized? Are both my Octilleries prized? You know? It really helps you, like, figure out, like, okay, what's my game plan now that I know what my prizes are? I got Ultra Brawl. It just allows you to discard cards. Like, let's say I'm running a deck that don't have any special energy. Yeah, I'm going to discard these Enhanced Hammers with Ultra Ball because I'm not going to need them at all. And it allows me to go get the Octillery. It allows me to go get the Aerodactyl so I can put it on the bottom of the deck with the Shuckle, and then next turn use the old Amber Aerodactyl. So, I mean, there's multiple uses to the Ultra Ball here. I'm using VS Seeker because it is such a good card. I mean, it's every format it's ever been in, it's been super popular. It just shows how good of a card it is. Put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. Oh, it's so good. The supporters I'm using a few Bridget because it allows me to go get, like, you know, my Shuckles and my Remorates. But for the most part, I don't really need them. You know, my Aerodactyl is not a basic Pokemon, so I can't go get that, and I can't go get an Octillery. So I don't really need that much for Jet. Lysander is such a good card. You know, it's a gust of wind if you know that term, if you've been playing for a long time. bring out their bench Pokemon, and you want to do that with like any kind of offensive deck. Aerodactyl's going to be hitting for 120. You want to go after their pieces they're trying to power up and stuff, or go after an EX early on and try to two-shot it, you know? And then the draw card I really like to play with Octillery is Professor Birch's Observations. Now there's other cards like Sycamore and stuff that can get you more cards reliably. But the thing is, like, with Octillery, you don't want a full hand. You want a smaller hand so that you can continue to draw a few cards, play a few cards, draw a few cards, play a few cards. And I really like how Observations works with it, where if you flip tails and get 4 cards, you can maybe play a card or 2 out of that hand, drop down to 2 cards, and then fill back up to 5 with Octillery. So I really like that combination. Or if you just flip heads, you get 7 cards. I mean, you can't go wrong with a brand new 7 cards. And personally, I don't like to discard my entire hand, even if it's like the last card in my hand and anything. There's too many instances where I don't like to discard my entire hand. So that's why I play Observations. And then Silent Lab, because I don't play Shaman EX, I want to make sure the opponent's Shaman EX does not trigger. And also, if they have a Wobbuffet active or something, I don't want to shut off my Octillery. So, I mean, there's a few instances where Silent Lab is so needed to make sure that my opponent doesn't get a huge advantage over me, you know, or doesn't shut off my powers. And then the tool of choice for this deck is the Muscle Band. And the Muscle Band just makes sure the Aerodactyl does 20 more damage. But you can really put on any of these dudes. I actually, in one of my games, I put a Muscle Band on my Shuckle, and I was doing 50 damage and flipping for Paralyzation against a Night March deck. And that was working pretty good. I mean, heck, you could send out Octillery and do 60 damage and they can't retreat next turn. Not bad. But the real draw is doing the 2 for 140. Because that can knock out a lot of stage 2s that have 130 or 140 hit points. It still won't one-shot an EX or a Mega EX, but it will do good damage, and that's why you don't absolutely need it in every matchup, but it's good against non-EXs. And then to power everybody up, I'm using Water Energy, because why not? Aerodactyl can use any energy he wants. And it will allow me to attack with Shuckle. He can also use any energy. And also Octillery. So I think Water Energy was just like a given. And using 4 double colorless energy, because why not? You know, Aerodactyl can use it. Shuckle can use it. Octillery not so much. But you could still put it on him if you wanted to retreat or something, you know. So that's kind of how that functions basically. And this is the deck. It's a fun deck. It's not super competitive. I know some people were using Archie's Ace in the Hole to put a Omastar down, and then every turn Omastar could bring out Aerodactyl. But you know, like, I can't pull off Archie's reliably every single game. But I can, like, start with Shuckle and do my Shuckle dance, you know? And I like the Shuckle, and this is a fun deck, and it's meant for fun. So it's not going to be as competitive. It's not going to be as hard to play or anything, you know. I have fun with this deck, and I hope you do too. I'm going to make another video where I play a game or two with this deck, and I'll post that next or in a day or two. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you learned something about these new cards. I hope you liked the combo. Feel free to post any comments down below saying like you should have used this card. I would definitely take it to heart. Please, constructive criticism, I welcome it. And I hope you have a fantastic day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.